Hi, my name is Patrycja Rozmus. I'm a design system lead at Brainly, the biggest online learning community in the world. We are still a relatively small company, but at the same time, we make product that is used by over 250 million of users in 35 countries, which interestingly creates tensions in development. I will tell you how making a design system looked like in this environment. From this talk, you will learn, obviously, how development of our design system looked like and how we solved the idea to the business. I will also talk about our design principles and our famous design system tools made in Brainly, about the structure of our teams and actual buying across the company, and finally, about design system secret sauce that makes it all work for us. Hope you will be able to use some of those insights in your organization. Let's get started. The story begins in 2015 when our developers made first commits to Brainly open source style guide. Unfortunately, it was one-sided and designers used their own UI kits, which after some time resulted in problems during implementation. Our designs contained elements that were older or newer than those in the style guide. So after 2 years, our implementation process started to look a little like this. Does this ping pong look familiar to you? During the handoff, both parties had to make decisions if given element should be changed on the designs or on the production. Developers were often unable to make the product look like it did on mockups, and it was tiring for both teams, or even for the stakeholders who didn't understand why the final product differs from the prototypes they accepted. So it was a problem. Seeing those problems, I made an inquiry about our team's work with the style guide. All members of design and front-end teams participated in the workshops, during which everyone could share their biggest problems and prioritize them. We ended up with a bunch of post-its that described our issues. And there it is, our biggest problem. The workshop confirmed that the biggest issue is lack of shared libraries and logical structure in them. We decided we have to address this and started working on a design system with a shared language between the teams as a priority. After some research, I came up with this. You see, Brainly design system needs to focus not only on the product, but also on marketing. It's not so common, but in our case necessary, as we didn't have a marketing team. This kind of work is done by our community managers, and they are not designers. Strange, I know, but this is how we roll and still manage to get that growth. Imagine that. So to help non-designers design for Brainly, we needed also libraries, guides, and templates for marketing initiatives. In details, it looked like this. We have brand in the heart of the design system, with all elements you would find in more advanced brand book. The guidelines and patterns for product and marketing emerge from the brand. This is how our design system is actually built now. But before we did start, I needed to sell the idea of the design system to the business. And it wasn't easy. This was typical reaction when I've said those mysterious words, design system. Nobody knew what it was. Today it is much easier as design systems became an industry standard. But then they were not. One of the main selling points was the quality of our product and its consistent branding, that now are more important than ever. In today's digital world of social media, users became brand ambassadors through their feeds, for example, and they have more impact on brands' popularity. Advertising agencies are becoming more and more supplementary in the time of this digital and social revolution. This is the model that Brainly chose, as we didn't use TV ads or outdoor advertisement, but rely on the product itself. So having design system was quite appealing to the business. Second selling point, and even more convincing, was the fact that without shared language between design and front-end, we were losing money because we were in so-called design and technical debt, and it was increasing with every implementation. We not only produced unnecessary code, but it was slowing us down. We didn't get full business support then, but rather a cautious one, with limited time for developing our shared language. Shared language sounds easy, right? Actually, it wasn't easy nor trivial. We were super lucky to have a front-end genius on board, Konrad Zwinel. He spent some time getting to know Sketch and found out that this tool has the open file format. So he, as a programmer, could understand it and play with it. He thought, if Sketch files are JSONs, maybe JSONs could be Sketch files. Maybe I can translate HTML to Sketch. And he did it. Of course, he started small from a simple rectangle export, and it took us weeks to make the complete usable tool. It was the world's first open source tool to export HTML code to Sketch. HTML SketchUp was giving us a chance to export the entire style guide to the Sketch library. Colors, text styles, symbols, all with proper naming, so that both teams can not only build from the same components, but also call them the same way. Here is how the style guide exported to the design library works. The designer can make a design in minutes. And remember, it's all consistent with the style guide. Also, developers, seeing the names of text styles and components in the handoff, can implement it quickly. And finally, the product can look like a mockups. And our biggest issue is fixed. Creating shared libraries will cost you some time, but it surely will repay. We weren't able to use it then, however, but as it was open source tool from day one, other companies were. It was a little frustrating, but also amazing because, to our surprise, the tool had some media coverage, for example, by Smashing Magazine. Prototype, which put Brainly on merging of design and development timeline alongside Airbnb, Webflow, and Guru. We were stunned to see that HTML SketchUp was used by companies like Seek, Yelp, and drumroll, Microsoft, which was quite shocking considering that our tool was made by a team of 3 people, or actually 1 person, because Konrad did most of the breakthrough work. Let's go back to the story and move to the design domain for a minute. At the beginning of the work on our design system, Brainly design principles were defined. The whole design team participated in a workshop where we tackled areas that are the most important for us to achieve better quality of our product. Then I wrote down the principles with a pencil mnemonic in it. So the first letters of our principles form the name of our design system, Pencil. Every principle has also a description and question you should ask yourself when thinking if the principle is fulfilled. Later we made cards to help us work with them and give structured feedback at our design critic meetings, which, by the way, are named Sharpener. If the principle is fulfilled, we put the fill out side on the table. If the principle is not met, we put the empty side on the table. Obviously, working with those cards is kind of difficult during remote work, so one of our interaction designers, Maciek Nowak, created their online version. It works like that. Recently, we even added custom emojis to our Slack to give design principles-based feedback daily. And internal anonymous Brainly design team survey showed that 2 years after the introduction, design principles are present in the daily work of our designers on 100%. Back to the story. In the meantime, our developer, Patrycja Rozmus, who was also a co-creator of HTML SketchUp, finished working on the first complete export of our style guide. It became our basic design library used by all designers, and we could start refactoring elements of the system. I think this is a good moment to tell you a few words about our process. When it comes to the implementation of mockups done within the product teams, our approach is quite classic. After the designers finish mockups done with the shared library, front-end is coding it, and we are A/B testing the proposition because every change is tested at Brainly. In this example, however, you can see the situation when a new component is introduced. The component is not present in the style guide and in the library. When a designer from the product team needs something we don't have in our design style guide yet, we do it a bit differently. First, we discuss it within the design system crew to check if it's possible to implement to our design system logically. Then it is designed and coded as a custom solution and put to test. If the version with it wins in A/B testing, we are adding it to our style guide and replacing custom with this newly added component. Adding new components to the style guide without the process was making design and front-end libraries out of sync in the past, so we created a circular process to keep those shared libraries up to date in the future. And this is how we roll. Here you can see our basic tooling. First, the designers make mock-up of the new component in Sketch. Then we use Abstract for handoff. Then we collaborate with developers on variants, naming, and last details. And then the code is made and sent to GitHub. Next, engineers export the newest version of the style guide with those new components as a sketch file. And the design system core team overwrites the old sketch file with a new one on our Google Drive. From that moment, all designers have an updated version of library when they open their sketches. And this circle of life, how some call it, goes on forever. If you are interested in how HTML SketchUp works, here is a little sneak peek. As you already know, HTML SketchUp turns HTML code into sketch files. So we need to create a page where we render components from the style guide or whatever we want to export. So the developers build the page with selected components to be exported. In this example, this will be the page with the color masks and textiles. Then they start the Puppeteer that opens that page, and using HTML SketchUp, export the components to a sketch JSON file. Then we import already exported files to Sketch using a Sketch to Sketch plugin. By the way, its full name is almost Sketch to Sketch. And voila, color masks and text styles are now available in Sketch, and you can use it as a library for the whole design team. This and other processes and the whole design system documentation were kept at our Confluence. Later, we migrated part of it to the public domain, but I will tell you more about it later. We had the export and the process, so we started audits and refactoring. First, text styles, then layout, spacing, colors, button inputs, labels, almost all elements had to be A/B testing, so it took us quite a long time. On this slide, you can also see that our team grew. We hired interaction and visual designers, and after that, we grew some more. Let me tell you how the structure of the teams changed over time. In the context of working with the design system, we divide members of teams into system contributors and its users. From the design point of view, at first we had only one official contributor, and it was me, and a few product designers working in different product teams. From the beginning, the product teams were cross-functional. They had product designers, front-end and back-end engineers, analysts, and of course, product owner on board. But by the way, this is just a scheme. Our product teams have a lot more people than before. After we hired more designers to the design system team, or core team, if you will, we were not only making design system, but also supporting all product teams with the UI. At that time, we still had fewer interaction designers than product designers. And then we grew more. Also, product teams, new product teams were formed. At this point, interaction designers were transferred to product teams, but they were still main contributors to our shared libraries. In product teams, interaction designers work hand in hand with product designers in the model we are calling two in the box. In this model, designers work on the same features, but they are given different perspectives and have different responsibilities. For example, Magda's main job is to satisfy key needs of our users and to create solutions that will meet business goals. She also documents the development of our product. Maciek supports Magda in creation of the ideas, and of course, by visualizing them and adding delight with interactions and animations. He is also an advocate for the design system in the product team. So he's making sure there are no custom solutions, and if necessary, he makes new components and documents it in our design system. But the common goal of those pairs of designers is, of course, making the product that people love. Coming back to design system story. We migrated hermetic documentation from Confluence to Zeroheight with a sexy address, design.brainy.com. Brainy people love this. And then we gain an actual buy-in across the whole company. Why? Well, one source of design truth was finally easily accessible for all. All teams, not only product teams, could find their resources like styles, presentation templates, illustrations, etc. We also became visible for design and dev communities. All that gave our leadership confidence to invest in the area, and we finally got the budget to hire dedicated developers for the design system core team. Brainy.com, our design system with HTML SketchUp in it, became a benchmark for many. It is a very valuable asset in our employer branding, internally and externally. Every design candidate is amazed by it. There are just a few of recent testimonials, with my favorite one from Agnieszka Lewicka, who was our interaction designer candidate and now works at Brainy, who said, "This is so 2025. After the introduction of design.brainy.com, we got the yearly Impact Award from the rest of Brainy employees. That kind of recognition for design domain was unusual and very needed in the team. On this slide, the beautiful design system crew celebrating this fact. And this is the secret design system sauce I was promising to reveal. The secret is dedicated people and treating the design system not just as an isolated, strict set of design rules and components, but as a thing that connects people, designers, developers, and everyone else. It's also good to have a lead who will keep the fire burning, but lead is nothing without the people, and solitary models of design systems just don't work. But of course, components are also important part of the system. In 2019, we continue work on shared libraries of items and began working on design libraries of bigger organisms and pages. Then COVID happened and our plans had to change. We couldn't build our team as fast as we would like to, and we focused on working with supporting developers from product teams. We started making the foundation for design system on mobile, with logic for stuff like dark mode, for example, delivered by Dina Sabat, our interaction designer. But when it comes to implementation of the mockups on mobile apps, there are challenges. While Brainly designers and developers working on web can collaborate seamlessly thanks to shared libraries by HTML SketchUp, 2025 process, as Aga, our new designer, called it. On mobile apps, we have the similar situation we had on web in 2017. Remember the ping pong? So yeah, with every implementation, there is a lot of bugs, redlining that take hours or sometimes even days to correct. And we would love to see happy collaboration of designers and developers also on mobile apps teams. So we are planning to invest more in shared language development also on mobile. But as Brainly has very smart people on board, even in these difficult lockdown times, our team was able to deliver something awesome while developing the product. One of our engineers, Bartosz Lorek, with the design support of Dawid Lewandowski, created the tool that gives designers full control over making lightweight, production-ready animated SVGs. So after HTML SketchUp, we had another tool by Brainly, SVG Animate. And like HTML SketchUp, it is open source and free to use for all. The tool was used to update our homepage with a juicy animation of Brainly community. On our Medium, you can find an article with details like this comparison of similar tools. This might be a game changer also for your team, as the animations are light with better control over your vectors. You can even use Puppet Warp tool in the Illustrator. With a new tool at our stable, we are planning to make a system for illustrations that can be easily edited and then animated to delight our users. We also started working on design system for motion. For example, effect like this one can be standardized, described in details when it comes to timing and easings, and used in other places on the platform for the coherent experience of our users. And still, there is a lot of educating to do to connect all Brainly people through design and to make quality that students, their parents, and teachers will love. Olga Wysopał, our visual designer, is design system main educator, but the whole team is doing it as well. We are Brainly, we love educating. So to wrap it up, the key takeaways would be, first of all, how to convince stakeholders to start making a design system. Our world is changing fast. Today, users demand products that not only work, but work better than yesterday. Users appreciate consistency and delight, and design system can help achieve that faster. Designers and developers are also changing. Today, it's important to care not only about user experience, but employee experience as well. And design system can improve it. If you are already developing the design system or starting to develop one, the key takeaways would be: shared language between design and development is the key. Use tools like HTML SketchUp to make it a process. Add gamification to your tools, like design principles cards. People like to play. Let people see what awesome things you are doing. Communication is crucial for design systems to get the necessary buy-in and adoption. And finally, treat the design system not as a strict library and set of rules, but as a thing that connects people. And that's all from me. Thank you.